You know, the two of us, we are the closest living out here. Ellie and me.
Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying?
Well, we've made it to the end, and Joel and Ellie can live happily ever after.
Wait a minute!
This will not end well.
Yes, don't fret, The Last of Us has been renewed for Season 2, but details are still scarce on whether it will cover all or part of the second game. However, here's what showrunner Craig Mazin told IGN.
So Neil and I are just now sort of figuring out how to, because it's more than a season's worth of television for sure.
But I'm getting ahead of myself, and we have a whole finale to break down. I'll be saving all my part 2 spoilers until the end of the video, but I'll give you a warning before we get there. And hey, if you've been watching my breakdowns this season, consider liking and subscribing. I cover lots of cool and interesting shows, plus I have a lot more Last of Us content coming out in the days ahead. We follow Ellie's mother Anna as she's stalked by an infected on the outskirts of Boston. You can see the skyline matches. Later we can see all the cuts and scrapes on her legs from her escape. Now there's something pretty fun about the actress who plays Anna being the same person who portrayed Ellie in the games. The actress who gave birth to this character is now literally giving birth to Ellie in the show. This is Ashley Johnson, and I for one hope that if there is a part 3, which is rumored as being in development, hopes she comes back to reprise her role. Other than her notably pregnant belly, we see she has these white running shoes, which remind me of the same kind nurses wear in hospitals. We know from the Left Behind DLC that Anna was a nurse.
Oh, and she said your mom was a nurse.
Which is probably a good profession to have if you decide to give birth by yourself in an abandoned farm. The main events of The Last of Us take place in 2023, and we know Ellie is 14 years old, so we can guess that this is roughly the year 2009, or 6 years after the pandemic. Notice the Firefly logo on the silo indicating that this is a Firefly safe house. The first words Anna says as she enters are, "It's me," suggesting that she and the Fireflies had plans to meet. However, no one's there. After her water breaks, she holds herself up in a child's room with kid-friendly decorations and drapes. Ironically, it mimics the location where Ellie was supposed to die, the pediatric floor of a hospital filled with quaint images of elephants and monkeys, both of which can be found in the game. The symbolism of Anna giving birth underneath the image of a tree isn't lost on us either, as trees literally flower and produce life, just like Anna's about to do. But on the other side of that door is death, an infected who breaks their way in faster than me at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
That man ate all our shrimp and 2 plastic lobsters.
"'Tis no man, 'tis a remorseless eating machine."
Anna uses her switchblade to fend off the attack, the same switchblade that will one day come into the possession of Ellie. The American Dream Comics depicts this moment where Marlene passes on her mother's knife to her along with a note from Anna herself. There's no note in the show, but the note gives some added context as to why she'd give her daughter a knife. We can make out the words "worth living," "fight," and "make me proud," so a switchblade seems an apt gift in this violent and cruel world. After successfully killing the infected, she looks down to see that she's given birth. Note to any pregnant women out there looking for an effortless birth, just sick an infected on you and voila. Unfortunately, Anna's been bitten, but this new piece of information could explain how Ellie got her immunity. Ellie was still connected to the umbilical cord when Anna was bitten, something she lies to Marlene about. This could mean some sort of resistance carried over. But hey, I'm no doctor. Anna tells Ellie she's so tough, foreshadowing her daughter's rough and tough demeanor. Meanwhile, Marlene and the Fireflies are in the forest with their flashlights, making them look like, well, fireflies.
There are firefly people?
With Marlene calling out for Anna, it's clear these two not only know each other, but they were supposed to meet. Marlene will later say they were delayed getting out of the QZ, and it's a good thing they got here when they did. Anna was ready to kill herself. Her infection has spread, and it's only a matter of hours before she turns and kills her newborn. If you remember from the poster from episode 1, a bite to the leg can have someone change anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. Ellie is hungry, but Anna's been afraid to breastfeed her, fearing it could pass on the infection. Anna's dying wish is for Marlene to take Ellie to Boston and find someplace safe to raise her. We know that Marlene will do this, but she'll give Ellie over to a Fedra orphanage, where she'll later be shipped at the age of 13 to join the Fedra military school. In episode 1, we found out she did this because it was the safest for her. Marlene is the head of the fireflies, and being raised by her wouldn't be the safest of choices. We also find out that Anna and Marlene have known each other their whole lives, which makes it extra difficult for Marlene to do what she and Anna knows has to be done. Anna must be killed. One thing this scene didn't address was Ellie's father. In the game, there's not much we know about him, but the show suggests that he's either dead or not on good terms with Anna, or else Anna would have asked Marlene to bring Ellie to him. Marlene's life is filled with making difficult but necessary choices. Killing Anna here is but a precursor to the more difficult choice she'll have to make later in the episode, whether or not to sacrifice Ellie in the effort to find a cure. Now this is an interesting difference I found from the game. The show calls it a cure, and the game calls it a vaccine. They likely made this switch due to the political baggage that comes with the word vaccine nowadays. A close-up of baby Ellie transitions us 14 years later to present day. Ellie wears the same red top from the game and is zoned out and is barely able to hear Joel.
Did you hear me?
No?
Did you hear me?
No.
This is likely because she's still traumatized over the events of last episode where she brutally killed David the Cannibal. We aren't exactly sure how much time has passed since episode 8. In the game, the David chapter ends in winter and picks up sometime in spring. But worry not, Joel has found some delicious Chef Boyardee, the stuff Ellie scarfed down in episode 4. And I know what everyone wants answered: do Joel and Ellie ever get to play Boggle? Really, Joel is trying to get Ellie's mind off things. He's never been the greatest at talking about emotions, but as we'll see throughout the episode, his connection with Ellie leaves him open to being vulnerable, to the point at the very end in which he openly discusses his daughter, something that was unimaginable at the beginning of the season. Of note is Joel wanting to teach Ellie the guitar.
In fact, I was thinking maybe I could teach you. Yeah, once we're done with this whole thing, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar.
Remember in episode 6, he told Ellie he wanted to become a musician. The guitar plays a larger role in part 2, and we briefly saw a music shop, Teton Tunes, while in Jackson. So expect this for season 2. For most of the season, it's been Ellie wanting to learn things from Joel, and now the shoe's on the other foot with Joel offering Ellie. He said he found a broken guitar in a nearby RV. In the game, you can actually venture into this RV to make a chilling discovery: a photo of a family with the backside reading "Forgive us." The parents shot and killed their kids, then themselves. But back to Boggle. Here we can see the Reno and Salt Lake City highway markers just like in the game. And like in episodes 2 and 5, the plan is to find a skyscraper, get a lay of the land, and find the safest route to St. Mary's Hospital, the supposed location of this secret Firefly base they were alerted to in episode 6. In the game, this leads the two through an abandoned bus terminal, while the show changes this location to a building that was supposed to be demolished. And in both versions, Ellie leaves Joel hanging.
Whoa. Oh my god.
Whoa. This leads us to one of the most memorable scenes in the game, which has been secretly foreshadowed throughout the entire season, and this, of course, is the giraffe scene. Hidden giraffes can be found all throughout the show, from the streets of Boston, Ellie's room in Jackson, her and Riley's room at the academy, and even on the wall of the pediatric unit. There are way more giraffes in the game as well, but I may save that for its own Easter egg video. Fun fact, the giraffe here is real. Production had one brought in front of a green screen where Pedro and Bella actually could feed the animal to get their genuine reactions. And take a look at Joel here, experiencing this moment through Ellie's eyes. It's a genuine father-daughter type moment. A few moments later, we'll see Joel walk into the sunlight. It's one of a few times in the show where we see him bathed in light, and it makes sense considering this episode is called Look for the Light. In my other videos, I've theorized the word light is a synonym for Ellie. When we first see Ellie in episode 1, she's bathed in light, and in episode 2, she's in the fetal position covered in it. So even though the episode is called Look for the Light, it might as well be called Look for Ellie, which is exactly what Joel does. It also ties into the Firefly motto, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Look for Ellie, a motto that is clearly on display in front of Joel in episode 1. Joel has been looking for this light ever since his daughter died, and only now recognizes that what he's been looking for is this connection, one he's developed with Ellie. In fact, he tells Ellie that when it seems you've come to an end and there's nothing worth fighting for,
You just keep going. You find something new to fight for.
The giraffe-filled baseball field is named after the game's level designer's wife, Bethany Claire Field, and he had this to say on his official YouTube channel.
Always put as many Easter eggs in your games as you can.
Is that fun?
It's nice to see that this made its way into the show as well. Now you might be asking yourself, where did these giraffe come from? Well, the game offers us a clue with this advertisement for the Salt Lake City Zoo. Now if there are any zoologists out there, let me know if giraffes could feasibly survive a Utah winter. Or infected Mormons. There's a fun callback to episode 2 and the game when Ellie and Joel remark on the view.
You can't deny that view. But man, you can't deny that view.
You can't deny the view, though.
Now Joel gives Ellie the chance to turn back here. They don't have to go through with whatever's ahead. They can go and live their lives back with Tommy in Wyoming. But Ellie doesn't want everything they've gone through to have been in vain. Tess, Sam, and Henry all died to get her where she is today. Only after they're done can they get that sheep ranch Joel wants or go to the moon, a callback to Ellie's love for space. Along the way they come across a military medical camp, not to be confused with Fedra. These were put up in cities across the country after the initial outbreak, and Joel opens up about how he got that scar on his face, something that was referenced in episode 3.
How'd you get that scar on your head? What? Is it something lame?
Actually, it was a suicide attempt.
After Sarah's death, Joel tried to kill himself, but at the last minute he flinched and the bullet grazed his face. In the game, he thought about killing himself, but there's never a mention of him actually attempting it. It's great to see Joel finally open up about his feelings. For most of the show, he's been bottling them up. And in one of my favorite lines of the episode, Ellie remarks that time heals all wounds, but Joel retorts,
It wasn't time that did it.
it was her. The show also excludes this moment where Ellie gives Joel a picture of her and Sarah. This photo was given to her by Maria back at the hydroelectric dam. I think this was a pretty good choice, as including it may have come across as preachy, especially considering Joel blurts out the moral of the story instead of having the viewer take it in on their own.
Well, no matter how hard you try, I guess you can't escape your past.
That bastard Will Livingston strikes again with more shitty puns. It's an attempt to lighten the situation and contrast their sudden capture by the Fireflies. In the game, this plays out rather differently. On their way to the hospital, Joel and Ellie must traverse an underground tunnel filled with bloaters and infected, eventually leading to Joel and Ellie almost drowning to death before being captured. What makes it even more terrifying is that Ellie can't swim. This is why Joel has to carry her around using water pallets in the game. Her inability to swim is briefly hinted at in episode 2.
Well, I don't know how to swim.
Seriously?
The game shows us Joel performing CPR on Ellie before being knocked out by fireflies. The show's version is much more simplistic, with Joel and Ellie hit with some sort of smoke or flash grenade. They could have easily cut to black here after Joel is knocked out, but instead they cut to white to keep in line with the look for the light theme. Joel awakens in the hospital, separated from Ellie, and across from him is Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies who we haven't seen since episode 1. Fun fact, the actress who plays Marlene is the only one who plays her character in both the game and show. She's lost half her men just trying to get here and is amazed he and Ellie made it.
It was her. She fought like hell to get here. It was all her. She fought like hell to get here.
Marlene and the Fireflies owe Joel a great debt, and now that he's brought Ellie to them, he can go. The last time Marlene saw Joel, he begrudgingly took Ellie, but now that they forged this bond, this has transcended beyond a simple transaction. I'm pretty sure the Joel who referred to Ellie as simply cargo in episode 4 would not consider that today, especially considering what he's about to do. Although Joel wants to see Ellie, he's not allowed. She's being prepped for surgery. One of the doctors believes Ellie's immunity has been with her since birth. Her body produces a chemical messenger that makes normal cordyceps think she is cordyceps, hence her immunity. If they can remove this from Ellie, they can reproduce it in a lab and give it to everyone. It's a cure, but we know cordyceps grow in the brain, so removing it would lead to Ellie's death. I'll go more in depth as to who this doctor is and why he's so important later on in my spoiler section. Joel will not allow Marlene to go through with this. They have to find someone else. But as Marlene tells him, there is no one else. Ellie is their only chance. This is the exact opposite of what Joel tells Ellie at the end of the episode when he states they've found multiple people with immunity. He even doubles down at the very end when she asks him to swear that he's telling the truth. This sets the foundation for part 2 and raises some serious questions about choice and bodily autonomy. On the one hand, you have Marlene's point of view. She doesn't want to kill Ellie, but believes doing so will save humanity. It's a necessary necessary sacrifice for the greater good. And on the other hand, you have Joel, who wants to save Ellie even if it means a cure may never be found. No matter which side of the debate you fall on, one thing is for certain: Ellie has no say in the matter. Ellie was never given the choice, not by Marlene or by Joel. And by no means is this an easy decision for Marlene. She has watched Ellie from afar her entire life, promised her mother to keep her safe, and will even catch her shedding a tear. In the game version, there is no mention of Ellie's mom. This is one aspect that the show decided to delve much deeper into. Marlene gives Joel Ellie's knife with plans to escort him to the edge of town where he'll never see Ellie again. But that's not what happens. As he's escorted by two men, it's only one in the game, he takes a brief moment to examine the hospital directory, trying to locate what level Ellie could possibly have been taken to. In his mind, he's already decided that he's going to save her. And save her he does in what is arguably one of the most brutal sequences in the entire show. Joel channels all his anger and shows no remorse in taking down the Fireflies, killing even those that surrender. He is not going to allow the same mistake that happened to his daughter. So you have to ask yourself, is Joel's decision to save Ellie a selfish one? Ellie's the one that's given him this will to live, and by saving her, it might also grant Joel this sense of redemption. That's the beautiful thing about this story, that among the blood and horror are real human conflicts that raise profound questions about what it means to be human. As Joel makes his way closer to Ellie in the game, we get a few tape recordings that offer more insight into what the Fireflies are doing here. One from the doctor himself, who says this about the surgery with Ellie.
We're about to hit a milestone in human history, equal to the discovery of penicillin.
More importantly are the recordings from Marlene, which provide greater context into her decision to kill Ellie and how she struggled with the decision. In a particularly disturbing recording, she speaks to Ellie's dead mother.
I need you to know that I've kept my promise all these years. Here's a chance to save us. All of us. This is what we were after. What you were after.
And we also learn that Marlene was asked to kill Joel, but refused.
They asked me to kill the smuggler. I'm not about to kill the one man in this facility that might understand the weight of this choice. Maybe he can forgive me. Oh, I miss you, Hannah.
After Joel destroys nearly every living soul in the building, he makes his way up to floor 6, pediatric surgery, and there's just something super creepy about a man who's just murdered countless people walking past children's wallpaper depicting happy animals. It's like when I buy a Happy Meal and find out I'm still sad. One noticeable difference is the iconic Firefly logo outside the operating room is not in the show version. Joel makes his way inside, and there on the operating table is Ellie, having just been put under. And this doctor here, like in the game, won't give Ellie up and picks up a scalpel.
Don't come any closer. I mean it.
Well, that went exactly as I thought it would. In the game version, Joel runs carrying Ellie as fireflies descend on them, and there's this cheeky eye chart that says the word run on it. In the elevator, you can just see in Joel's face the weight of the decision he's just made. But in order for Joel and Ellie to escape, he must get past Marlene. She makes a last-ditch attempt to change his mind. Joel can't be Ellie's protector forever. There will come a day when he's gone and she'll be torn apart by infected or killed by raiders, because in this world, the world of Joel's decision, there is no cure. Humanity goes on in this post-apocalyptic mess. But let's say Ellie could save the world. It's still not up for Marlene to decide. But what Joel fails to realize is that it's not up for him to decide either. It's two people making a decision about what a woman can do to her body. So basically American politics. Marlene puts down her weapon. It's not too late for Joel and them to find a way to fix this, but we then cut to Joel driving away. It's a brief moment for those who haven't played the game to wonder if Joel left Ellie with her, but that's far from the case. A groggy Ellie wakes up and has no clue what happened. She wasn't even informed that they were giving her drugs to sedate her. And here is where Joel lies like his life depends on it. He fabricates this entire story that the Fireflies performed tests on multiple immune people and came to the conclusion that a cure is impossible. Raiders then attacked the hospital and Joel grabbed her and they escaped. So not only does he lie about there being multiple individuals who are immune, but he omits the part where he murders dozens of Fireflies others, including Marlene, to save her, and that the Fireflies have given up a search for the cure. When Ellie asks if Marlene is okay, he simply doesn't respond. But what I found really interesting here as Ellie turns to go back to sleep is Joel whispering, "I'm sorry." Is he sorry about what he did? That he didn't give her a choice? That he was being selfish? That he lied? It could be a mixture of one or all of these things, but I do feel he's genuinely sorry for deceiving her. We get one final flashback depicting Marlene's last moments. She pleads to Joel to let her go, but he knows that if he lets her live, she'll just come after him. In both versions, as Joel and Ellie's car breaks down, Ellie examines her scar. It's this bite that started the whole journey, and now we're coming to its end. Luckily, the two are a 5-hour hike to Jackson, and during their hike, Joel mentions how, although they are two different people, Ellie and Sarah would have made great friends. In the game here, you can also collect the Last Savage Starlight comic, something we saw Sam read in episode 5 and Ellie in episode 7. For the most part, these stories from the comics mimic whatever Joel and Ellie are going through. Check out what the final comic says here. The Travelers have been crippled for now. The Travelers represent the infected. Daniela's daring plan and her seemingly miraculous escape back home have made her a galvanizing figurehead to the Last Watch. Daniela is Ellie, and she also escaped back home. The Last Watch are the Fireflies who want Ellie. And finally, Captain Ryan's sacrifice has made him a martyr, an illusion Daniela won't dispel. But how long can she keep what really happened a secret? Captain Ryan is Joel, and his sacrifice is that of humanity. He sacrificed a cure in exchange for Ellie's life. And this comic suggests deep down Ellie knows this, which is why the final line reads, "But how long can she keep what really happened a secret?" In the distance, we can make out Jackson, and it's here Ellie opens up to Joel about who she killed. In episode 4, she mentioned there was someone she shot, and now confirms this person was Riley when she eventually turned infected.
Her name was Riley. And she was the first to die.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die.
Finally, Ellie asks Joel to swear that everything he told her about what happened with the Fireflies was true, and he doubles down and swears it. Both the game and show end on Ellie accepting his answer, but there's this seed of doubt. This is not the face of someone who is completely reassured, which leads us to our spoiler section. Be warned, the next few minutes will reveal details about Part 2. Joel's decision here sets the stage for The Last of Us Part 2, which is set 5 years after the events of Part 1. Ellie develops a distrust of Joel, and the two grow farther apart, until Joel's eventual death spurs her on a quest for revenge. This quest pits her against Abby Anderson, the daughter of Jerry Anderson, the surgeon Joel killed in Salt Lake City. In the show, this doctor is simply credited as Surgeon, so there's no telling if he'll be making an appearance in Season 2 as the actual Jerry Anderson, or if the writers intend on changing things up. Remember in episode 6 that the name credited for the girl who everyone believes to be Dina was put down simply as Staring Girl. This allows the showrunners the ability to recast or shake things up should they desire. Now, Part 2 does begin in the winter time, and with Season 2 already greenlit, it would be amazing if they could start shooting sometime this upcoming winter. But what did you think of The Last of Us Season 1? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Consider liking and subscribing. I'm always coming out with more videos, and have a few Last of Us ones in the pipeline. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
why the you lying? Why you always lying?